Daniel Sports Central will be going over a college football game preview and prediction on the 2020 New Orleans Bowl between Louisiana Tech and Georgia Southern, two teams of which who have had good seasons for their programs. As Georgia Southern is coming into this game as a top team in the Sun Belt, and they're also 7-5. Meanwhile, for Louisiana Tech, they're 5-4 and a middle-of-the-pack team in the Conference USA this season. So really, for both teams, this would be a huge win to finish off the season. We're bringing over a full game preview and prediction on this game here today, starting out with your team trends. And Louisiana Tech last game, they lost to TCU 10-52 was the final score there. So that was a pretty terrible loss there for the Bulldogs. But then again, I mean, TCU is a Power 5 team. They've been playing pretty well this season. So, but still, I mean, 52-10 is a pretty terrible loss there. Meanwhile, for Georgia Southern, they lost Appalachian State with a final score 26-34. So really, I mean, both teams are coming off of losses here, but both teams, I think, certainly, I mean, both teams have still gotten more wins than losses. So that's certainly a good thing. I mean, if you look at Louisiana Tech down the stretch, I mean, they beat UAB at one point, which is certainly a signature win for them. And they also beat North Texas, which both those teams, let me remind you, are bowl teams this season. Meanwhile, for Georgia Southern, they did have a blowout win over Florida Atlantic, and they also beat Texas State, a couple other teams as well. So really, for both teams here, we have seen some good wins down the stretch. Winning streaks for both these teams: Louisiana Tech is 5-4 with a one-game losing streak. Georgia Southern is 7-5, also with a one-game. This game is going to be on Wednesday, December 23rd, 3 p.m. Eastern Time in New Orleans. Spread currently says Georgia Southern by 4.5. ESPN FPI is also going Georgia Southern 58%. Vegas prediction also going with the Eagles here, 38-33 being the current projected final score from Vegas. So it looks like Georgia Southern here is favored by a decent amount by all three of our sources. Here's your stat comparison for this game. Louisiana Tech's got 29 points per game, 34 points allowed. They had 227 passers a game, so this is a team that's definitely heavy on the passing side. They got 97 rush yards per game. And for yards allowed, they got 240 passing, then 184 rushing. As for Georgia Southern, they got 26 points per game, 22 points allowed. They got 102 pass yards a game, 262 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 221 passing and 112 rushing. So really, I mean, if you look at both teams here, I mean, Georgia Southern is a huge rushing team on offense. Meanwhile, for Louisiana Tech, they're a huge passing team. So really, for both teams here, I mean, their offenses operate in pretty much opposite ways here, as Louisiana Tech's been a big passing team this season, with their quarterback being Anthony, who's put up 1,400 yards on the season, 16 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So he's certainly had a very good season for Louisiana Tech this year. Meanwhile, for Georgia Southern, they got Wirtz, of course, being their quarterback or their leading passer this season, who's put up nearly 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So once again, they really have not been as good in the passing game, but Wirtz has been their top rusher this season as well, with right around 700 yards on the season with 8 touchdowns. Looking at some key points for this one, Louisiana Tech has struggled down this stretch, but they still do have a winning record, which is the good thing for Louisiana Tech here. Georgia Southern is kind of in a similar situation. I mean, this is a pretty evenly matched game between both of these teams, which is certainly something that you do want to see out of a bowl game. But I mean, if you look at both teams here, both teams have been middle-of-the-pack teams in their conferences. Now, I do mean Georgia Southern, they have been a top team, I would say, in the Sun Belt this year. But if you look at Louisiana Tech, I mean, Louisiana Tech's kind of been towards the middle to the top of the Conference USA this season. But really, I mean, both teams have had good seasons. They're both above 500 as well, so that's certainly a good thing for both of these teams as we head into this game. Do expect a lower scoring game here, though. I think both teams, considering both teams are really good on the defensive side, that's going to be a big factor in this game, and I don't think that we're going to see a whole lot of points scored here. Like, this is not going to be a shootout by any means. Like, both teams are going to keep this as a pretty low-scoring game. I think the defenses are going to prevail quite a bit, but I do expect it to still, I mean, we're going to see some scoring, but it's certainly not going to be as much as what many are used to. How each team would win, though, in this situation? I mean, for Louisiana Tech, you're coming into this game as an underdog to a Georgia Southern team who's more experienced. They've played 12 games over the season in comparison to Louisiana Tech's 9. So Georgia Southern is more experienced coming into the game. And, I mean, Georgia Southern, you could argue as well, is the more talented team. So really, for both teams here, there are certainly different factors. But for Louisiana Tech, you're just going to want to put up as much points or have as many points as you can to start off the game. And you're also going to have to do really well in the passing game against a Georgia Southern defense that has been pretty decent this season, only allowing 221 yards on the passing per game. So, I mean, you're going to have to rush as well against Georgia Southern. Like, you're not going to win just by passing. You also got to consider that there. But as for Georgia Southern here, I mean, thing is for them is that they're going to really have to do really well in the rushing game here against Louisiana Tech, because Louisiana Tech's defense has not been very good in the rushing area. I mean, they've allowed 184 rush yards per game on the season, which is definitely not a very good stat. So for Georgia Southern here, they're going to have to rush it as much as they can. And I think if they can just do that against Louisiana Tech, they should be on their way to win. But here's what I'm expecting here. I think, once again, it's going to be a low-scoring game. We're going to see Georgia Southern get the win, but it's going to be very close. Louisiana Tech's going to keep this thing close all the way through. Halftime score is going to be 13-7. We're going to see the Eagles lead in the final. It's going to be a 6-point win for Georgia Southern, 23-17 being your final score. Probably it's going to be 60% towards Georgia Southern, so I am expecting Georgia Southern to win it. But I'm not completely confident that we're going to see Georgia Southern win here. I definitely think Louisiana Tech is going to put up a good fight, and it would not surprise me a single bit if we did see the Bulldogs get the win here. But that wraps up my prediction on this game. Let me know your thoughts and comments below on this one. And yeah, if you enjoyed this preview, drop a like on it and subscribe as well if you're not already yet, as it really helps with the channel, and I'd really appreciate that. But once again, appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see y'all later.